Everyone, Alex here, Contact Now, welcome. If you're new to Contact Now, welcome. And Contact Now is all about preparing humanity for contact with ETs, extraterrestrials, and other beings of that nature. Now, what we're really centered in here is contacting ourselves, developing self-awareness. And why do we even want self-awareness? Well, self-awareness, being aware of who and what we are, is essential to living a conscious life. It is essential to living a life of joy, a life of peace, a life of unity, and a life of service. So what my main intention with Contact is helping others live an intentional life. And when we do this, we expand our awareness, we expand our consciousness, and then that's reflected back to us in our physical reality through the different relationships that come into our lives. And this can be manifested as a relationship with ETs. I think that we're at the point in our collective evolution that this is starting to develop more and more every day. I think it's pretty obvious now. This is a story that's been going on for a very long time, and something that humanity, at least here in the Western world, we've been engaging in at least since the 40s, so for multiple decades now. But this is really starting to pick up exponentially. It's something that I've been consciously working on since I was 18, so for about 16 years now. And it is my great passion. I can't think of anything else that really brings me more excitement than the potential of making contact. I think it really speaks for itself. So, in this program, we don't dive into conspiracy theories. We don't dive into different religious beliefs. I do my best to keep things neutral, to keep it level-headed, grounded, centered, and keep it tailored towards developing self-awareness. So having said that, this is something that I have put. So I'm just reflecting on the past right now and stumbling on my words. The main point I'm trying to get across is, I've put a lot of expectation on contact in the past, and a lot of insistence, like going out there and initiating contact under the stars and just expecting something to happen, insisting that something needs to happen. And this is not a really holistic way to go about it. It is not something that we should have any sort of expectation towards. I really encourage anybody who is practicing contact to do this with no insistence, no expectations, to do it unconditionally. We should be doing this out of the pure joy of expanding our consciousness. And if that is the result we get out of from initiating contact, is expanding our awareness, expanding our consciousness, and that is a great gift of its own. And we should always do this with an open heart, with the intention of being of service, of being peaceful, of being joyful, of being authentic. And let's get all the government stuff out of the way. Let's get all the human conditioning and programming out of the way, and let's meet not only Star Nation, but let's meet each other with a pure and open heart, with all these filters that we've been just force-fed our whole lives. Let's get those. Let's start with a clean slate. Let's go back to the pureness of our hearts that we were born with, that is inherently ours, that is still there. And, we've just collected a little bit of baggage along the way. Not a big deal. We can let go of that. We can change. This doesn't need to be a struggle or a battle. Changing who we are. This can be really a graceful, fun, exciting process. So that is what, to me, contact is all about. It's all about evolving ourselves, assisting in the conscious evolution of humanity, and being a conscious participant in that. So we need to take that responsibility in our own hands and acknowledge our creative power, acknowledge our creative power. We are the creators of our reality. So practicing for contact can help awaken how powerful we really are and how we don't need to be forcing things to our will. We do not need to be fighting with one another, that we can co-create a peaceful and abundant, joyful world for everyone. So, having said this, I emphasize self-awareness, and we'll get to the topic for today, which is the spiral of self-awareness. So this is a 6-step tool, a 6-step exercise that I've created that is a lot of fun. It can help us, just give us a little bit of a path, a little bit of a plan for self-awareness. So the 6 steps are to know, to act, to trust, to receive, appreciate, and reflect. And ultimately this brings us back to knowing. And because going through this process, it brings us to a new awareness of who we are. Going through the process, you're never the same person from when you started. From moment to moment, you're never the same person. From day to day, you're never the same person. We're always changing. It's a different moment. So let's change consciously. So the first step is to know. Who are you? Let's just take this moment to reflect and ask that question. Who are you? Who am I? What brings you joy? What is the kind of life that you envision that is the most natural, the most authentic, the most you? It is important that we think about this. It is important that we ask these questions so that we can make that into a reality, because ultimately everybody is seeking pleasure, moving away from pain, and the hardest thing to be is somebody that you're not. So we need to know who we are. Who are you today? And we can, write that out. If you don't know, journal about it, vlog about it, just get it out there. Okay, don't keep it just stuck in here, inside your body, inside your mind. You need to get it out. You don't need to be afraid of your own shadow or whatever you're holding on to. Just be authentic, and also know that your true self, that your authentic joy and passion is going to support everybody else's passion. That's what true passion is. It's acting on a collective whole. So investigating this, your authenticity is not going to take away from anybody else's authenticity, and anybody else's authenticity is not going to take away from yours. And if you encounter somebody that has a contrary belief, that their authenticity means that you need to change your authenticity or your point of view, that's not true authenticity. So let's just Let's be aware of that. So know who you are, what is your true authentic self, and now moving to step 2, take action upon that. What kind of actions can you take today that are in alignment with who you are, with your passion? It doesn't mean you need to go quit your job and go travel around the country unless you ultimately believe that you're going to be supported doing that. But making that big of a leap overwhelms you, then you need to just start off slow. Maybe it means going for a walk, giving a friend a call, reading a book, journaling, starting a new project, starting a new craft. Just, take some sort of action, intentional action that you haven't been doing, that is in alignment with who you want to be. Okay? And be consistent with it. If you can dedicate 5 minutes a day, then dedicate 5 minutes a day. Make it, this is me, be very intentional with it. This is me acting upon my joy. This is me acting upon my excitement. And do that for 5 minutes. And then go about your day in your regular general way. 5 minutes is enough at a start, and then the next week do 10 minutes. The week after that, do 15, maybe bump it up to 30 minutes, and eventually you're doing it for an hour. Eventually you're doing it for 2 hours, and then eventually that's just your life. Okay, so we can work through this. It can be a gradual process and something that we can make sustainable, but you need to take action. Action is the true language of physical reality. If you're not taking action on your passion, then you're not living your passion. Living means acting. So, move to step 3, which is trust. Every action you take is going to have some sort of consequence. Like dropping a pebble in the water, it's going to have a ripple effect. And I invite you all to trust the consequences of your actions, okay? To trust that, and again, consequences isn't a negative thing. Consequences just means that your actions have an effect. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So you act on good, positive beliefs, well, you're going to get that good, positive energy back. You act on negative beliefs, you're going to get that back. So now that we are practicing self-awareness and practicing positive beliefs, let's practice trusting the process. So act upon it. Trust that the outcome may not be something that you expect. It may be totally different than what you expect, but that's okay. We just need to trust what unfolds from our actions. Okay? And that what unfolds from our actions is actually in our greatest benefit. It is a response to our actions. It's here to support us. It's here to nurture us. Even if that means, maybe, let's say you get fired from your job because you're now acting upon your passion. You're not as focused at work, or just, something happens and now you're fired. Well, depending on how you then approach that, if you're not trusting that's there to support you, then you're not going to get the positive benefit out of quitting your job, because who knows, maybe something else is lining up for you that wouldn't have lined up if you weren't fired from your job. Maybe it just needed to get to that point in order to get you moving in a different direction. So I know it can be uncomfortable being in the unknown. I know it can be uncomfortable in the uncertainty, but that's okay. It's okay. just trust that you're guided and that you're supported. And it can take practice. I understand. We're going to move to step 4, which is receive. Okay? So trust, then receive. Be open to receiving what comes your way. Now that we're trusting what's coming our way, be open to receiving it. Be open to that new opportunity. Trusting is going to open up the door to that new opportunity, and then receiving is going to be allowing something to come through. So be open to receiving whatever comes through from you acting, from you trusting. Just acknowledge that you're open to receiving. And don't have too much more to say about receiving. So we're going to move to step 5, which is appreciate. So in my mind, in order to truly receive something, you need to appreciate it. You need to acknowledge that it is a gift. So again, you get fired from your job because of your actions. Trust that it is there to support you. Be open to receiving what the consequences of that, and appreciate it, even if something hasn't manifested yet. And this will help you get through the unknown. This will help you get through the uncertainty, is just through appreciating the outcome. So take a moment of gratitude, take a moment of silence to just appreciate your life, to appreciate the outcome. Even if it's something you objectively don't prefer, that doesn't mean that you can't appreciate it. You can acknowledge that I don't like this. I do not prefer this outcome, but it's here, and what am I going to do with it? Well, I know that if this outcome is in my life, then it is here for a positive reason. It's here to support me. So how we get to that place is through appreciation. Thank you, life. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, whatever. Thank you for this gift. I don't know how it's going to support me. I don't know how it is going to bring me to the next step of my life, the next step of my passion. But that's okay, because I know that if this is in my life, and if this is an outcome, then it is here to support me. It is here to bring me more. It is here to bring me to my passion. It's here to bring me more self-awareness, more love, all these positive definitions. That's how we get into that energy, is through appreciation. So on to step 6, which is reflection or reflect. Now that we've gone through these 5 steps, we need to take a pause. Well, we don't need to, but it's important to take a pause. Is it important to take a moment of silence within your mind and reflect on the process? Who did I affirm that I was? Who did I know myself to be? What kind of actions did I take? Could I have taken more action? Could I have taken more aligned action? What sort of different actions could I have taken? Was I trusting? Did I trust that my actions were going to support me? Was I open to receiving the consequences of my actions? Was I open to receive the outcome of my actions? Did I appreciate that outcome, even though it may have not been something I 100% prefer? Is there something I can find? And there always is something you can find that you appreciate. Was I in a state of appreciation or in gratitude, or did I choose to stay in a victimhood mentality and think that life is out to get me? So, and now we're at a place of reflection after appreciation, and this brings us back to knowing. This brings us back to where we started so that we can continue a new cycle through the spiral of self-awareness, which is an endless spiral, because this is a journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's always going to bring us back to ourselves, and it's always going to help refine us and make us into the beautiful beings that we are, the beautiful beings within ourselves, and it is going to help us make contact, because we're choosing to contact ourselves. We're taking that responsibility, we're taking that leadership into our own hands, and yeah, we're doing it. So I hope this made sense to all. If you have any questions, please feel free to write something in the comments. I will provide a link to the Spiral Self-Awareness so that you can print it off, okay? And I'll also make a document that you can print off that you can write out these steps, and you can reflect further on each one of these steps, and may it be of assistance to you along your journey. So thank you very much. May you be at peace today with yourself and be at peace with others, and have a wonderful day.